5 years ago, my wife and I settled into our dream home on the edge of a quiet suburban neighborhood. The house came with a full acre of land, perfect for gardening and outdoor hobbies, and it backed up to a protected forest preserve, meaning no neighbors behind us. Just trees, birds, and a surprising sense of calm for a place only 20 minutes from downtown. When we bought it, we knew there was a homeowners association (HOA), but it seemed laid back. The rules were simple. Mow your lawn, don't paint your house wild colors, that sort of thing. The fees were fair, funding a playground and a small park at the neighborhood entrance. It felt like a good deal. My beekeeping journey started by accident. That first spring, I noticed the apple trees and berry bushes left by the previous owners weren't bearing much fruit. A little research revealed they likely weren't being pollinated well. Around the same time, I read about the declining bee population and their vital role in the ecosystem. Why don't we get a beehive? I suggested to my wife one night. It'll help the trees and we might even get honey. She wasn't sold at first, worried about stings, but after learning honeybees are usually gentle if left alone and seeing our acre was big enough to keep hives far from the house, she agreed. I took a beekeeping class at the county extension office, joined a local club, and dove into books and videos. By the next spring I was ready. I set up 2 hives at the back of our lot, near the forest, away from neighbors. The bees did great. Our first honey harvest was small but enough to share with family and friends. By year 3, I had 5 hives and was selling woodland rim honey at the farmer's market, a raw, unfiltered product that changed flavor with the seasons. Things were perfect until the HOA board elections last year. That's when Lisa moved in and swiftly took over as HOA president. She had a vision to transform our easygoing community into a pristine, cookie-cutter enclave. Within weeks, she was issuing notices for petty violations, bird feeders in unapproved colors, trash cans left out too long, or overgrown vegetable gardens. Most people grumbled but complied to avoid trouble. I first caught her attention when she targeted my beehives. One day, I found her at my property line snapping photos. "Can I help you?" I asked, walking over. "Yes, I'm documenting a violation," she replied, not looking up from her phone. "What violation?" I asked, puzzled. "The beehives," she said, while VYing toward them. "They're not allowed under HOA rules." I stayed calm. "That's not true. I checked the bylaws before setting them up. Nothing bans beekeeping." She smirked. "They're livestock and that's prohibited in residential zones." I nearly laughed. "Bees aren't livestock, they're repollinators, vital for the environment. Plus, they forage miles away." Her tone turned syrupy. "The board will re-VYW this. You should remove them before fines start." I held firm. "If you want them banned, amend the bylaws. That needs a full community vote, not just the board." Her face tightened, but she stormed off to her SUV. At the next HOA meeting, I arrived armed with the bylaws, highlighted sections showing no bee restrictions, and studies on their ecological benefits. I even brought honey jars for the board. Most members were reasonable. They voted my hives weren't a violation. Lisa fumed but lost. I thought it was over, but she wasn't done. A month later, my wife was upset when I got home. "Lisa came by today," she said. She wanted to inspect the hives for county compliance. I groaned. "She has no right." "Did you let her?" "No, I said she'd need to talk to you." "She threatened to call the health department." I sighed. "She's bluffing. The county's fine with hobby beekeepers if we follow guidelines, which we do." The next day I checked the hives. 4 were fine, but the 5th me best honey producer had a skewed cover. Inside, frames were mishandled and 2 once heavy with honey were nearly empty. Someone had stolen from me. I checked our security camera near the chicken coop, which partially VYU'd the hives. There was Lisa in a laughable beekeeper, get-a-foodie, sunglasses, gardening gloves scraping honey into a Tupperware with a spatula. She'd botched it. Leaving the hive open too long and crushing bees. My wife was furious. Confront her now. I paused. I want to handle this smart. Legal action tempted me, but Lisa would just escalate the drama. I needed a better plan. Then my beekeeping buddy Tom texted. He had an aggressive hive needing a new queen and offered me the old one and her feisty workers. Typically we breed for calm bees, but an idea sparked. "Yes," I texted back. "I've got a project." I picked up a small nuke box with the defensive queen and 3,000 prickly bees, not killer bees, just extra protective. I set up a new hive near the forest, 15 feet from Lisa's pristine backyard, added brood and honey, and installed a trail camera. I called it Lisa's lesson in my head and waited. 2 weeks later, we faked a weekend trip, loudly mentioning it near Lisa at the mailboxes. We parked at a friend's, snuck home via the forest trail and watched. At 10 a.m., my camera app pinged Lisa in her goofy outfit, approached the new hive with a bigger container. She skipped the others, went straight for Lisa's lesson, and pried off the covers without smoke. The bees erupted. She screamed as they swarmed, dropping a frame and flailing rookie errors that fueled their fury. She bolted to her yard, bees in pursuit, crashing a brunch with HOA cronies. Guests panicked, divvying into her pool or fleeing indoors. Lisa hosed herself down, yelling about suing me. My wife asked should we help. I shrugged. Give it a minute. They won't chase far, and she's not allergic. Stuff said so. The chaos settled, I suited up, fixed the hive, and waved at Lisa's glaring guests. That night, the HOA called an emergency meeting about community safety. I brought my footage. Lisa ranted about my killer bees, attacking her unprovoked, demanding their removal and compensation. I played the videos, her stealing honey twice, trespassing, and triggering the bees. Silence fell. I explained the bees reacted to her meddling, not negligence, and my setup was legal and beneficial. The board voted, my hive stayed, Lisa was ousted as president for abuse of power, and they wouldn't back her legally. She stormed out, threatening lawsuits that never came. A week later, the new president apologized and invited me to host a beekeeping workshop at the picnic. Lisa sold her house soon after, claiming a bee allergy, but we all knew the truth. I left a honey jar on her doorstep. From the hive UVY cited. Best wishes. 6 months later, my lawyer quashed her $50,000 lawsuit with the footage and a police report from her first theft. My hives grew to 12, my honey's in stores, and the HOA funded a pollinator garden. Sweet Retribution, a dark honey named for Lisa, is my bestseller. Nature taught her a lesson and I smiled every time I harvested from that hive.